All right. Hey, y'all. Hey, this is your girl, Diamond Crystal, also known as the Gallivanting Grandma, trademarked. And I am so excited to be with you this evening. I have got a special guest, and I haven't had one on my channel in a very long time. So, y'all take a minute and say hello to Miss Alli.
Hey guys, what's happening?
Hey, welcome to my channel. Girl, you know the struggle is real in technology, especially for this gallivanting grandma, okay?
Yes, but we are figuring it out together for sure.
We are totally figuring it out. And I have finally been able to catch up with you. For those of you who do not know, I am a five-star global nomad and international house sitter. And I am happy to introduce to you another sister who sits. She is also five-star and she's out here in these international streets as a house sitter making it happen.
Yes, thank you for the intro. That was lovely.
Hey, I try to do what I can do, girl. I try to do what I can do. Listen, let me pause for the cause because I'm out here trying to find me a wine sponsor. So you come on and toast with me, okay?
I will definitely toast with you.
Toast with me. Cheers. Cheers to my new
Cheers.
sponsor and cheers to Sisters Who Sit. Yes.
Mhm.
All right, I'm drinking a cab tonight. And the alcohol content is about 13%. So I'm going to sip,
Nice.
okay?
I have me I'm drinking a sparkling rosé.
Okay.
Very nice, smooth.
Very,
Yeah.
very nice. So, listen, guys, I am going to entitle this video, it is Yes, Black Girls Do That Too. And when I start talking to Alli, y'all gonna understand why. So, Alli, give us a little bit of background. Start with your house sitting experience. Tell us how long you've been house sitting and where.
Yeah. So I've been house sitting for the last 3 years, on and off. Where so I started off in my home location, which is Henderson, Nevada, my
Mm-hmm,
first house sit. So I
mm-hmm,
did something a little close to home just to get a feel, an idea of what it's supposed to be like before I decided to venture off. But as soon as I completed the house sit, I'm like, okay, this could work. The next house sit, I booked a trip to Mexico City, and I stayed there for 14 days.
uh-huh.
I house sat two cats, so they were pretty easy going, and I
Yeah.
was outside, out and about most of the day, and at night I was back at home with the cats. Um, Outside of that, so I've done house sitting in San Diego.
Okay.
Love San Diego, one of my favorite cities.
Yes, yes.
Um,
Nice climate
and
there too.
the climate is like almost perfect all year round. So
Exactly. Let me
really good.
pause for a second because you validated what I tell my clients, which is get your feet wet in your own backyard. And that's what you
Mhm.
did. You started house sitting locally, and then you were able to jump right into an international sit, which, a lot of times sisters are like, listen, I need about 5, 10 different, five-star reviews before I can go international. But that was not the case with you.
No, that wasn't the case for me. So I already did some extensive research before I joined the Trusted House Sitters platform,
Uh-huh.
and I decided to give it a go. So that was my trial was close to home, and then as soon as I figured that out, like, okay, this is good. It's a, legitimate platform. I see how it works. Then I was ready to go because I was already ready to be gone and out and about in somebody else's city. So yeah, I took advantage of that opportunity to just go.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I am so glad to hear that, once you decided that this was a lifestyle that you could embrace, you didn't put no brakes on it. You just went full steam ahead. And that's what I tell people. It's almost like double dutch. You just gotta, you gotta time it and you gotta jump in and just do the darn thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just do it. Just go for it. All of your fears, that's like the worst part. Like, just being afraid. And then once you do it, they just go away. Like, okay, I did it. What's next? You know, it's
There you go. There you
pretty
go.
cool.
And my favorite hashtag that I use on 90% of my posts, and this pays homage to my mom, rest in heaven, mom, is faith over fear. Because, you are a little bit, anxious about the first time. The first time that you do anything is the first time. So you don't know what to expect. But once you put that faith in front of fear and you start moving forward in the direction that you want to go, like you already knew you wanted to go international. So you were
Yeah.
like, okay, there's no reason for me to, hesitate. And so,
Mhm.
faith means action. And that's what I hear you did is action.
Yeah, exactly that.
All right. Well, let's talk about action because, girl, you live an action-packed life. Listen, I'm the gallivanting grandma, and I do be in these streets. But like I said, the title today is "Black Girls Do That Too." So I was trying to hook up with Alli and determine what would be the best date and time, and she said to me, she said, "Well, I'll be available after this hour because I got something that I'm doing." And that something was like, what? Like, what are you doing? And that something was zip lining. So tell us about this action packed zip lining that you did.
Yeah, so I like to adventure and explore a little bit on the some may say extreme side, but I like to
Mhm.
say I try it once before I say I don't like it. So yeah, I went ziplining with my coworkers and I enjoyed every moment of it. I was afraid at first because it's not normal to step off this platform that's like I don't know 100 feet in the air, 200 feet in the air, and like just hang on to this little handlebar and go like it doesn't feel normal
Mhm.
but yeah, I decided to just face my fears and try it, and before I say like okay I would never do that, like now I could say I tried it and I would do it again. I would totally try it
Okay.
again. It was a great experience. I felt like it was kind of like a team building experience. I got to know my coworkers a bit better.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was an enjoyable experience.
Girl, listen, I'm gonna leave all of that extreme stuff to you. The most extreme thing that I have done in my life, seriously, is I went snorkeling in the
Ooh,
ocean last year in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And that was a
nice.
faith over fear move because your girl can't swim. So what the hell am I doing in the ocean by myself? And this snorkel instructor slash photographer is taking my picture. But it was like once
Wow.
you make up your mind to do something and face that fear, you have the faith that you can overcome it. And that's what I heard you
Hmm.
say with zip
Hmm.
lining. And now it's something that you would do again.
Yeah, exactly. I say just go for it. So, yeah, I've tried other activities, skydiving, hot air balloon.
All the
I had
things.
to try it. I had to try it one time because I'm like, okay. And I used to have like this fear of heights. It's still there, like a little bit.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I don't, it's kind of weird. I don't like roller coasters, but I would do skydiving or zip lining. But, but hey, it worked out. And I'm
Yeah.
glad that I did it. And I just could say I faced my fears. It's no longer like haunting me. Like, I would never do that because I'm afraid the worst case scenario is going to happen. But
Right.
I'm
Right.
like, did I die? No.
Yeah, no, because you are clearly here, girl, live and in living color. And yes, that's what's up. So, I was having a conversation on another podcast a couple of weeks ago with Heather, who runs the Black in Portugal group. And we were talking about non-traditional, what are perceived as non-traditional activities for Black women, right? So
Hmm.
house sitting was definitely one of those things, right? So I know for me, I got introduced from the GOAT herself on YouTube many years ago, Stephanie Perry. And I was like, yo, wait, what? She living the world, traveling, and she's not paying any rent, no mortgage. Like I didn't even know it was a thing. So how did you get introduced to house sitting?
So I was on the same journey of researching and trying to figure out how I can travel inexpensively. And I spent a lot of my earlier years just waiting for someone to be ready to go with me. And I always wanted to travel. I always had like this urge, this burning passion to like go explore other places, get to know other cultures, and definitely the food. So
Oh, let's talk about the food. Go ahead, I'm
the
listening.
food is the best part for me at least. But yeah, I started researching like how to find cheap ways to travel, and I came across Stephanie Perry's YouTube as well. And I was just like, this is a thing? Like where
Right?
have I
Like, is
been?
this a thing? Like, are you joking me right
Yes, and I love pets. I love animals. I
now? Uh-huh.
we always had them growing up, so I'm like, I can watch someone's dog, cat,
Oh, I could
fish.
do that.
Like
I
I
could
can
do
do
that.
that. Like that's easy. So yeah, I did the research on it to see like, okay, what is the membership? How does it work? What happens if something happens to the pet? What do I do?
Right.
Um, yeah, so I just did a little bit of research and I was like, all right, I'm sold. Got my
All
membership, and then the rest was history. Like I
all right.
never turned back. Yeah.
I absolutely love it because you are preaching to the choir. What I tell my clients when we do individual consultation is first of all, do your due diligence, right?
Mhm.
Don't jump into anything blind. So
Yeah.
you said that you found Stephanie and that was representation. If I say it once, I say it 1,000 times. Representation matters because
Yeah.
had you not seen somebody who looked like you, doing something that we did not know was a thing, you probably would have been like, yeah, okay, that's not a thing. Or maybe you would have
Yeah.
thought about it 3, 4 times before you actually pulled the trigger. So I think that's why it's so important for us to have these conversations as Black girls doing things that a little bit outside the norm. For the majority of us, absolutely. You did your
Yeah.
due diligence and you saw somebody who looked like you doing something that held your interest. And so that was like, all right, that was like almost the key. That was almost like your permission slip, right?
Yeah, it was like, okay, now how am I gonna make this happen? Like, what steps
Mm-hmm.
do I need to make this happen? And yeah, I'm so glad that I did that. Like, I feel a sense of freedom. For one, like that allowed me to figure out my transition, like
Mm-hmm.
after, because I'm like, okay, I already had like a on the road job. I was traveling a lot. So I'm like in the transition period, like when I'm not traveling or when I have off days or when my contract is done, what am I gonna do? So now I do house sitting when I'm not working, when I'm, even on the weekends. And I found it recently to be useful while I'm traveling on the road and also working and doing house sitting. So
Okay.
it's been great for me. Like I
I don't
really
know. It
appreciate the
sounds like
platform.
it sounds like it's a financial win for you,
Yes.
um, a mental and emotional win for you. It sounds like holistically, this is a lifestyle that you have learned how to embrace. And I always say, house sitting fell in love with me before I fell in love with it because I kept getting the sits, I kept getting the offers, and it was just it just came easy to me. And the more I
Hmm.
did it, the more comfortable I became with it, and I was like, this is it for me.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
So you said in between jobs. So anybody who's watching can see that there's a slight age difference between the two of us. I'm about to kiss 62 in August, and I don't know how old you are, but I know we're close to that. Um, but at the end of the day, it works for anybody, any age group. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right. I would recommend it to anyone in all walks of life, any age group. There's there's a wide variety of people that this could potentially work out for. If it works out for me, then it could definitely work out for anyone, Like,
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what I say. That's a shared sentiment right there. So, I brought up the age difference because I'm retired, but you said you were working. So, and
hmm
I know what you do for a living, but girl, I was like jumping up and down, spinning around when you told me your occupation because, like, house sitting, I didn't know it was a thing. So go ahead and just break it down, because Black girls do that too. Go ahead.
Yes. So I am a commercial drone pilot. That's my full-time gig. So right now I have a contract in California. I'm working on the road full time, got housing and food per diem, everything taken care of. And yeah, I've been a drone pilot since 2019, and I've been in this industry for going on 2.5 years. So it's it's been life changing, honestly. Like I have so much flexibility when I'm like my off time per se. Now is like I'm working for a
Yeah.
goal, but
Yeah.
as I mentioned to you before, like I'm using my job as a tool, and also the drone pilot position, like as a tool to get to where I want to go, and that's to be more financially stable and free, so I can travel freely, and I won't have to worry about coming back to the job only if I want to. But yeah, I'm using my job to build that foundation so I can be more free in the future.
Oh my
So,
God. First of all, we're going to back up to the drone part. So you talking about the toys that boys, right? Primarily, when you think of drones, you think of boys, you think of men. This is like their big boy toy, right?
in a
So
sense, yeah.
yeah, so this is like real serious drones that you make a living off of operating. And you said another thing, which is FAA certified, which is like you a for real pilot?
Right. So I am a FAA certified commercial drone pilot. Yes.
Girl, toast, toast,
Toast to that.
toast to that. Yes, you rock, girl. I mean, first of all, when you told me, I was like, I could not believe what you were saying. And I still find it so completely fascinating. And that's why I wanted to have you on my channel, because, you are completely, your lifestyle is unconventional. Would you agree with that?
I agree totally.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Unconventional in a very good way. And had I gotten the message, the memo at your age that work was a means to an end and not the end all, shoot, I probably would have less gray hair right now and more travel underneath my belt at 62. I mean, I didn't see work in the way that you do, which is very refreshing as a young person. You see it as a means to an end and not, this is my life, right? Did you freeze up? All right, so we're gonna keep talking. I mean, it just is amazing to me that as young people, you're able to embrace the fact that this is what I do to make money, but I am using this strategically along with house sitting to meet my financial goals so I don't have to continue working. She says she wants to travel. She wants to travel the world. And as soon as we get her back in, we are going to start talking about how we actually met, because it was really just serendipitous how we came across one another, and it was in the house sitting arena, to be honest with you. But I just want to back up a little bit and remind people that we are talking to Alli, and Alli's segment is entitled, Yes, Black Girls Do That Too. So we talked about, the unconventional kind of extreme activities that she likes to do when she's traveling, which includes ziplining and skydiving and hot air ballooning, and all of these things that I, as a mom and a grandma, like, okay, listen, I like to travel. I like experience too, but I don't really be liking to leave the ground like that. I could not really imagine being on a zip line, even though, you watch these TikTok videos and Instagram and all of those, and they make it seem like it is just so effortless, like it is seamless, right? But at the end of the day, it's something that you can use to conquer your fear of heights, like Alli said, sure, she still has some trepidation, but it's not really a fear that she has at this point. I am going to pause here for just 1 second and see if I can get her back in. See if I can get her back in, because I am not done talking to this young lady at all, at all. But as we wait for her to rejoin us, I just want to reiterate the fact that there is an age difference between Alli and I. However, we both saw house sitting as an opportunity to meet our goals, our travel goals, our financial goals. And while she is still early in her earning stage of life, and I am at the tail end of my earning stage, I still want to maximize my travel dollars and the money that I have in my 401k, and in my, here we go. All right, Allie's back. In my 401k and in my savings account, I want to keep that for the things that are really important to me. I don't want to have to spend it on rent and mortgage and electric bill and car and car insurance. Switch your phone for me. Go landscape for me, Alli.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
All right, cool. So I was just talking about, how house sitting is helping both of us and the entire community of sisters who sit to meet whatever financial or travel goals that they may have for themselves, right? So it's not a one size fits all. It's not a do it the way I do it, because I do it full time. Everybody can't live out of a suitcase like I do. But now that brings me to where I wanted to be with you. You good?
Give me 1 minute. Let me close the shade, because
Yeah. I did want to get into how Alli and I met, when I said earlier, it was really very serendipitous. And it's an experience that, of course, it was memorable, because we are here now almost a full year after the first time that we met. So we're going to let her get herself situated, because we know how digital nomads roll. And sometimes we got to give each other grace, because everything don't work the way it's supposed to work when it's supposed to work. Am I right? Alli and I tried this a couple of nights ago, and for whatever reason, her volume was going in and out. And I said, nah, girl, we got to do this again, because you got way too much good information that I want to share with the sisterhood to, get every other word. So now we back. She's in full effect. You good? Let me see. Testing.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Not in my headphones though, and I'm sorry about the technical difficulties.
That's okay. Technology is only good when it works.
That part.
Okay, there we go.
All right. Yep, I can hear you. All right. So I was just queuing up how we met. So can I throw that to you?
Yes, you can. Let me get a sec to wipe the sweat off my face. It is burning up over here.
Where you
The
at,
West
girl?
Coast.
I'm in Puerto Rico on a house sit.
I am in Sacramento at the moment, and it is hot. So, yeah, I had to come outside for a minute because the AC is not ACing.
It's not AC enough.
No, I just got in, so it's taking a minute to cool down, and I think my
Yeah.
phone got hot. So,
Okay.
yeah, but we're outside now. So,
okay, cool. So
we're talking about how we met.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so we met in Costa Rica, in San
Yes,
Jose.
we did.
I was doing a house sit in Grecia, and I think you were as well.
Yep.
And there was a taxi driver who was appointed by the lady that I was house sitting for. So he took me around town. We hung out a little bit too. But yeah, he told me that there was another brown girl that was doing the same thing, and I'm like, what?
Like
In the
what?
same area, like
Gracie,
what
Costa
here?
Rica?
Yeah, so I found out that we were in the same area at the same time, but we just happened to like cross paths.
Yep.
Um, and I was heading to San Jose to pick up a rental car.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember how I got your number, if he gave it to me or whatever the case may be, but we ended up exchanging contact information and setting up a meetup,
Yep.
which we had some lunch and we just chatted and yeah, it was a great conversation. So
Yeah.
um,
It
shout out
was
to the taxi
fantastic.
driver.
Shout out to the taxi driver who was like, wait, I live in Gracia, Costa Rica. And now, in the span of 2 weeks, I done met two brown girls that I never saw before doing the same thing. Do y'all know each other? Are you related? All the things, right? And so when
Yeah,
he told me, I was like, well, did you give her my number? And he was a gentleman because he wouldn't share information without it being okay with either one of us. And so by the
right.
time he got the okay from me and got the okay from you to share information, we missed one another
Hmm.
in that part of Costa Rica. But so, all right, so fast forward, we missed each other, and I caught up with you when you were renting a car. And so I'm gonna talk about another. Yes, black girls do that too. They rent cars in foreign countries and they drive to a whole nother part of the country by their damn self. Whoa, toast up. Wait, you got your wine?
I
Toast
do
up.
not.
You
It's in
left
the
it in?
house, but
Okay. Well, I'm a toast
cheers.
for you, girl. Go ahead, tell the story.
Yeah, so I plan to go to Costa Rica for the house sit, but I wanted to explore other parts outside of Gracia because I knew Costa Rica had different parts with different vibes. At least that's what I researched, like, the Caribbean side and then the
Yeah.
Pacific side, the all of the Gracia, that area, and like just different parts. And I'm like, okay, I wanted to experience like multiple parts of Costa Rica, not just the area that I was doing the house sit in.
Maximize those travel dollars. Go ahead.
Right, exactly. So I plan to go to Jaco.
Mm-hmm.
So after doing some research, I figured that I could either take public transportation, rent a car. I could have flown there too. I think the flight was an option, but it just
Uh-huh.
wasn't convenient. It was
Okay.
more convenient for me to drive. So, yeah, I got a rental car and I drove to Jaco.
Listen, let me tell you, I was like, you're doing what? Because I have driven in these international streets. I have not driven to a whole nother part of the country where I was visiting. Local towns, surrounding areas, but you were going like hours away by yourself in foreign country. And I'm gonna tell on my own self because my mom, grandma instinct kicked in. I was like, girl, you sure about this? And all the things. I was like, you gonna text me when you get where you're supposed to be, right? And so I had to put my faith in front of that little bit of fear that I had for you. And I hate when people say I'm afraid for you, or I'm scared that you're doing this. I was excited that you were doing it, but just the fact that it was something so incredibly different, and you being a young black woman by yourself on those roads, but you were like, I got this. Let me pick up my rental. I'm gonna pop by and meet you at the Airbnb, and we gonna go to lunch. And I was like, boy, this is a badass girl right here. I already had made up my mind. I had never met you a day in my life. I was like, this is a bad chick right here. And you were like, don't worry about it. I got it.
Yeah, yeah, I have to because otherwise, like, I don't know. I can't, like I said, I spent a long time like waiting for people to be ready to go. So now I was just like, okay, as long as I do my research, like you were saying earlier, doing my due diligence and making sure I know what I'm getting myself into,
Yep.
I feel totally fine with, maneuvering different countries and just exploring to see how I can get around in the most convenient way possible.
I think that is so awesome. So do you speak the language?
I speak a little bit of Spanish, yes, so I can understand and speak basic Spanish.
Okay, okay, yeah. People keep asking me. So, you've been going to all these different countries. How many languages do you speak? I'm like, one, English. But that should not be a hindrance, right? Because
No,
as
not at
long
all.
as first of all, Google Translate. Let's
I
keep it
was just
100.
gonna say Google Translate works very well.
Keep it 100. Google Translate. Use the technology that's available to you, and that's not always 100%. It's not going to, always give the correct translation. But in addition to that, simply doing again your due diligence and learn how to, greet people in the language of the country that you're
Hmm.
going to visit. Know how to be polite. Know how to order a little bit of what you want to eat, right? Know how
Hmm.
to say please and thank you.
Right.
Know which telephone number to call for, if it's 911, if it's 119, 211, whatever it is. Do your research. Don't jump in these streets on the blind. And
Right.
that's what I hear you saying is, do your research before you start out.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
just really, really so important. So, we touched on a few things that normally, and my demographic generally is women who look like me but are in that 55 plus age group. So that's why I was so excited to have a youngin up here with me. Because you know how I roll. I'm like, listen, if you out there and we in Costa Rica at the same time, I don't care. Let's get together. Let's chop it up, especially as house sitters, because a lot of times house sitting by yourself and on a very regular basis, you could get house sitter fatigue, right? Because you are alone.
Hmm.
You're in
Hmm.
a country where you really don't know anyone. So if you have not set up a soft landing for yourself by getting in the groups and, making sure that you're meeting with people or you have something to look forward to, because nobody likes to eat by themselves every doggone night, right?
Right.
You know,
Exactly. Yep.
so every once in a while you want to get out there and you want to converse in English to give your brain a break from trying to, figure out the language too, right? That's the way
Oh
I think
yeah.
of, like, woo, I can woo-saw a little bit. I can really talk.
Yeah, yeah, that's the challenging part. Like when you go to countries and you don't know the language or you're learning, it
Hmm.
it takes I was surprised like by the end of the day of communicating only in or trying to communicate only in Spanish, like it could be a bit exhausting, but to get
It can
around
be
people
very
who
exhausting.
understand
Yes.
and speak English is like, oh, okay, I got a break.
Yes.
I'm giving my brain a break also because I
Yes.
don't have to think, translate, translate.
Yes.
But yeah, it could be mentally exhausting just trying to communicate. I didn't realize that. Like after I was there a couple of weeks, I'm like, okay, I want to have conversations with people that speak English or like even just going out to a restaurant and I'm just like trying, when you're out and about, you can hear people's conversations, but I'm
Yes.
like, okay, I can hear a word or so I can understand like a word or two or, pick up
Hmm.
a little bit, but I don't understand what they're saying. So it's
Right.
a little challenging, but I'm a very social person. I'm a social butterfly. So I make it my business. Like, if I want to get out there and be social, I'll go out to social places, go to the bars, the restaurants, just have conversations and meet people. And normally people are pretty, they're friendly and they'll have conversation. And, that's it.
Yeah.
You may make a friend, you may never see them again. But,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. But it's all part of the experience. And I'm so
Mhm.
glad that you said that you go out and you try to be social and you mix it up with the locals. So that's going to lead me to my next question, because you young and beautiful and vibrant. And so how's dating out there in the international streets, girl? Give us the
Dating
tea.
is
Give us the
there.
tea.
Dating is there. Dating definitely exists. Um, yeah, it's a good time. I enjoy it. I feel like they love like in particularly in Latin America, they love brown girls. They love
They
black
love
girls.
us.
So I
Okay.
don't have any problems. Like if I want to go on a date, there's dating apps, but of course you have to be careful with
Right.
those. Scams and all of this, the crazy stuff that does happen anywhere you are in any parts of the world.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it's also more common to meet people out and about, like old school. when you're out at a restaurant bar, or doing some sporting activity, I feel like it's more normal for, guys to come up to you and, not be afraid to have conversation. Like, oh, where are you from? Like, do you speak Spanish? And just starting a conversation. So, it's fun. I like dating in other countries.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you for co-signing that, because I tell my sisters that all the time. First of all, before you get to the language, you greet the face. And so if your face is inviting, if your eyes are welcoming, if that smile is on, and you look like you're open and receptive, listen, like she said, they love us in these Latin American streets. So, go where you're celebrated, go as opposed to being tolerated, because it's easy. It really is. And what I heard you say was organically meeting people out and about is more gratifying than going through the swipe left, swipe right bullcrap of the dating apps, right?
That's how I
Because that can
feel.
be
Yeah.
frustrating.
Yeah, it's totally frustrating. Like, I feel like here in the U.S. is um different parts of the states are different, but like there's like this need for instant gratification and just like
Hmm.
I don't know. It's a weird dating world now. I don't know, but
Yeah.
and I'm sure that other parts of the world are experiencing the same thing. But from my experience, it doesn't feel as good as it used to. I
Mm,
think
mm.
that during the pandemic or whatever, like people's social interactions changed a lot,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
yeah, that affected the dating world. But
Yeah.
I definitely prefer to meet people out and about. Although, like, working is very challenging to do that, but I
Uh-huh.
make it my business to make time for myself. That's like, okay, I need some social activities. I'm gonna go and hang out, and do
Oh, you
stuff.
just don't
So,
go zip line or, skydive or some extreme sport like that. Girl,
hmm
listen, I'm sure you probably meet a lot of people that way, but let's bring this round all the way back to house sitting, because I tell people, they're like, I don't want no pets, I don't want no responsibilities, I just want to house sit a house, house only. And kudos to people who decide that that's how they want to use house sitting, because that's certainly an option. But for
hmm
me, as almost 3 years on the road solo, I really do enjoy having a little breathing something that's happy to see me at the end of the day. If I've been out all day, and I got a little furry friend who's like, yo, where you been? I'm glad you're back. Even if it's just for the food, you know,
hmm
and also
hmm
keeps me honest, right? Because I'm a relaxation chick. I like luxury. I like, laying back, enjoying the sunshine, kicking it in the hot tub. And so I ain't gonna necessarily get them steps in all the time. But if I got a dog who needs my attention, that kind of keeps me on track. Like, yeah, you can't be lazy, but so lazy, because the dog needs to go out, right? And it's not a
hmm
big deal. But dating, having a cute dog is like an introduction, isn't it? Like
Yes.
they'll be saying something to you, but they talking to the dog, but they really saying something to you, and like, oh, this is such a
Okay.
cute dog, and da 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 da. And I'm like, yeah, he really talking to me, trying to holler.
Yeah, it definitely bridges the gap and makes for conversation for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, let me brag a little bit. I'm in Puerto Rico for 35 days in a luxury house at
Ooh,
penthouse.
yes.
Penthouse, 16 floors up, okay?
hmm
So me and the dog take an elevator down every day,
Wow.
either coming or going. Girl, I think I done met every eligible Latin man in this building at some point or another. And I only been here like 4 days. And they're like, oh, the dog is so pretty. And what's his name? And all of this. And I'm like, you want to know my name, don't you?
hmm
I mean, you
Yes,
got to use what you got, right?
absolutely. I'm an advocate for it.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Well, I think that it is just wonderful how you have decided to stack your life as such a um, young age, not that you're a baby or anything, but you're not even midlife and you've decided how you want your life to look. And you are using house sitting to set your life up for success, means to an end. And so I applaud you for that. And I applaud you for all the outside the box wonderful things that you're doing that most Black girls don't do. I don't know. Did you ever watch that award show? Used to come on every year. It was like Black Girls Who Rock. Did you ever see that?
Don't know if I did. It
Yeah.
doesn't sound
And so it
familiar.
was like an award show, and I think she was the person who put it on. She was like an ex-model, and she brought up celebrities and just regular women who were doing phenomenal things. And so if I had the opportunity to nominate a Black girl who rocks, that would be you. And so that's why I said yes, Black girls do that too, and you are the epitome of just thinking outside the box and living your life on your own terms, trying things and putting your faith in front of your fear. And so this has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. And I'm so honored to be here. And, thank you for just sharing your platform so that I can continue and, like, be in motivation. I'm like, okay, I see her out here, these Puerto Rico streets. Like, what is my next house sit gonna be? It's
Yeah.
very inspiring. I'm showing my mom your page too, so she can like get on the bandwagon because she wants to travel too. I'm like, yeah, you can do it. Like, look, mom, there's people out here like your age, older, younger, whatever. Like, it doesn't
Yes,
matter. Like, you can do it. So
you can do
thank
it.
you for
Yes,
extending the platform. Like, I'm very
absolutely.
happy to be here.
Absolutely. It's a real pleasure. And yeah, I'm talking to all the moms and all the aunties out there. Like, please, y'all, stop already. Book a flight. If you have never solo traveled, my advice is, let's just say you live, in Chicago and you've never been to New York. Well, damn, book yourself a 2-hour flight into New York and enjoy the city by yourself. Cities are great places where you can just get lost and you can do what you want to do. Nobody don't know you, ain't nobody looking for you, clocking for you. And that's a great way to kind of dip your toe in solo travel. It doesn't have to be international straight out the box, right?
Right,
But you
right.
got to empower yourself and exercise that faith muscle to know that you can do what you want to do on your own. You said you wasn't waiting for your friends no more. I heard that twice.
Yeah, yeah, because we would plan those group trips, and then as it gets closer to the date, like people drop off, and then it's just me left. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go.
I'm
What's the
not
worst
doing
that
this
can
no more.
happen?
I'm not doing this with
Right. I'm
y'all.
not waiting. And yeah, now my friends are like, where are you at now? I'm like, okay, you can come. You can still come and hang out. And I also do that too. Like sometimes, of course, with the permission of the owner, like I'll have my friend or
Yeah.
my mom come and visit me or come do a sit with me.
Hmm.
I saw that you were doing like some like tag along sits kind of thing. So
Girl,
yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah.
girl, let me tell you. Thank you for bringing that up because that was a topic I did want to touch on. My girlfriend Wendy and I, we met in Ecuador 2 years ago, and we really hit it off. And she's like, when I started house sitting international, she was like, "You doing what?" So she came to visit me in Mexico. Like you said, I had the permission of the host. I was in Mexico for 5.5 months on my first international sit. And Wendy was able to come and check it out. And she was like, this is a thing, huh? Because she didn't know it was a thing either. Then when I got him back into the States, I invited her into this luxurious sit up in San Rafael, California. And she was like, yo, this is how you rolling? And it's good that people can actually eyewitness it because some people don't believe for
Yeah.
real the lifestyle that you can live through house sitting. So it was almost like validation, like girl, come so you can go run tell that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty
Like
much.
it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Hmm. Now
So
my
we
friends are
decided
like, "Can we do a house sit here? Can we do a house sit here?" I'm like, "Girl, you need to get your membership."
get your membership. Yes. So Wendy signed up and she did a couple of sits in her local area just to get a feel for it on her own. And then we decided to try and tag team it starting in January. So we actually were together for almost 6 months doing sits all through Panama, Guatemala, the EU. Girl, it was just wonderful, and it was a different experience because I had been out there by myself solo, except for the times when I was able to bring my daughter and my granddaughter. And I'm going to say that they are coming a week from today. They're going to be
Um,
here in Puerto Rico with me because I got this
yeah,
palatial house sit, and you don't even need a passport to come where I am now. So y'all come on.
that's
Yeah.
exciting. I love
Yeah,
that for you.
I'm excited. I haven't seen my baby since December 29th.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
they're gonna love it. Oh
They
man.
are gonna love it, and the best thing is that when you have a house sit, let's just say you have children yourself. If the house sitting host has a child, they are more than likely to welcome your child because that pet is used to that additional attention that it gets from that
Mm-hmm.
little one, right?
Yeah.
So the boy who lives here is the same age as my granddaughter. So that means the
Mhm.
energy level is the same. The dog is gonna be happier with Layla than he is with me because I'm like, all right, we done played for 5 minutes now. Go and sit down somewhere. But Layla gonna worry him. You know what I'm saying? So yes, it is a thing that you can do with your family, with your friends, and as Alli said, with the permission of the house sitting host.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Always.
And don't you find this a simple conversation?
It's a really simple conversation. Like, hey, can I bring a friend with me? This is my friend from so and so. I know them for this amount of years, or you know, just to give them the satisfaction that you're not bringing a stranger into their home.
Right.
You know that you're going to be accountable for that person's actions if something goes left. You
Mm-hmm.
trust that person. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's all that they need to, that they need to feel comfortable for the most part. But I mean,
Exactly.
you can give it more information if you want. But yeah, those are the conversations that I always had, and no one has ever told me no. So,
I have
um,
never had a host say no to me. Um, and I will say that I used my maturity to my advantage. I'm like, listen, my party days are behind me. And I also incorporate my YouTube channel into my profile. So you kind of know what you're getting when you reach out to me.
yeah,
I'm the gallivanting grandma. I'm gonna take time to be in these streets. I'm gonna be in your hot tub and your soaking tub. You already know these things. So if this
yeah,
ain't right for you, then don't extend the invitation to me.
mhm,
Decline the sit and let's
mhm,
just keep it moving. Manage the expectations and
yeah,
nobody's feelings gets hurt. You keep your 5-star rating and you keep it moving.
yeah. It's that simple.
It is that
That
simple.
simple. And yeah, with the 5-star rating, like
Mhm.
hosts are reaching out like this whole like the
Yes.
springtime I was working and I'm like I got invited to sits like all over. They're like, "Are you available for these days?" I'm like, "Sorry, I'm not available, but keep me in mind for future sits." But like once you have a few under your belt and like if
Mhm.
homeowners like even in your area or something like that, they'll reach out to you and they'll ask you like if you're available to sit. So that's not hard to come by at all because I get a lot of like asked a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting you say that because I get a lot of invitations to come back because I sit internationally, it doesn't always work out.
Yeah.
Um, it worked out this year that I was able to return to the south of Spain for a house sit, which was absolutely luxurious. And she was like, "Listen, can you build your calendar around being here every year this time?" And I'm like, "Say less.
That's
Say less."
beautiful. Oh my gosh, yes. That's like a dream of mine. Like just to be like, okay, can you well I got invited back to the sit that I did in Grecia in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
but I don't know if I'll be able to do it because it's in November. So I'm like,
Right.
I don't know. And but I'm like, you know what? The opportunity will present itself somewhere else.
Somewhere
Um,
else, somewhere
yeah,
else.
have the whole world.
That's right. And I'm on trusted house sitters every day because I manage
Hmm.
people's accounts for them and find sits
Okay.
that I think would be appropriate based on their requirements, right? So I'm on there all the time. And I think this morning I saw there was close to 9,000 sits
Hmm.
domestically and internationally. So you can't tell me that you can't find a sit that fits your criteria. If you can't find one, you need to call me because I find them all. Or
Yeah.
you just not doing our favorite two words, which is due diligence, right?
Hmm.
You're not
Hmm.
doing your due diligence. It's
They're
just as
out
simple as
there,
that.
and those
They are.
filters on there work very well. So,
Girl, the filters of life. The filters
yeah.
of life. Sometimes there's a bit of a lag. So I tell people if you are being intentional about finding a sit in a particular destination, you put your filters on, but you also make sure that you're checking yourself because sometimes by the time the filter pops up, they already got 4 applicants, which is a little bit
Hmm.
different than it used to be
That's
back in the
true.
day. They used to be able to take 20 applicants or whatever. Now it's 5 and they close it off.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you really got to be strategic about, knowing where you want to go and what time frame you want to do it. All right. So in closing, because I know you melting out there.
I am melting. Um, I'm gonna grab my glass of wine when I go inside. But
Absolutely. In
yeah,
closing, if you had just share your closing thoughts with us.
yeah. I want to say if you're afraid, someone has did it before you did. Um, they may have a guide out there. They may have a YouTube like the Gallivanting Grandma. Like I have a YouTube as well. It's not really house it. But anyways, I'm thinking about it. But anyways, there's someone who did it before you did, so
Yep.
it's doable. Just jump at it. Just go for it. Book that flight, sis.
Book that flight, sis. And
Book
I'm
that
going to say
flight,
that
sis.
again for all the aunties and the grandmas who are afraid to jump in. Double Dutch. Let's go. It's your turn. Jump in and just do it. Alli,
Yeah.
it has been an absolute joy and a pleasure. Thank you for joining me this evening. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you for having me. Take care, and we'll catch up again soon.
Absolutely. Wherever you are in the world, I wish you nothing but peace and blessings. Have a good night.
Bye bye.